You are a nuclear fusion reactor, and I'm going to explain in this video what that really means, but humans, their design is essentially very similar to what you could call nuclear fusion, or nuclear fusion you could say is based off of the human design, because everything in this world is really just a reflection of what you truly are. Just before I start this video, I'm going to put up on the screen some of my notes related to this topic. So for a very long time, I have received downloads regarding the universe, regarding space, time, black holes, reality itself, all of this. And again, there's an ebook in the description that explains more about this and how I came to understand all of this stuff. But I am also saying this and showing you these photos because I am curious if anyone is interested in me eventually sharing my entire notebook, making it available as an ebook. So I have hundreds of drawings of pictures related to these concepts and breakdowns of it. And of course, these are rough notes, but for a very long time, I've wanted to share them with the world. I just don't know how. And I figured, I am someone who doesn't like things to be perfectly organized and flawless, and so I don't know, I'm going to put it out there. If anyone is interested in this, I will eventually potentially publish an ebook or actual book version of my rough notes. If someone wants them, let me know, and leave a comment below if this interests you. And anyways, we'll get back into the video. So in this video, I want to explain how this concept relates to the idea of manifestation, to bringing things that you want into reality. And the main thing that I want to discuss is the fact that you do not need more affirmations. You don't need to say more things if you haven't seen anything coming into your reality. If you feel like you've kind of hit a wall, like you've been stuck for a long time with no movement whatsoever, then this is a video for you. And also, this is a video for anyone who truly just wants to understand our pretty much entire existence as human beings on this planet and how energy works. So recently I made a video on TikTok where I described more about how energy actually moves through the body and what the masculine and feminine means in terms of this energy. But essentially, you can think of it as there's energy that was flowing in this universe, which we call emotion, which is energy in motion. It was this energy that was constantly moving at one specific speed, one frequency, you could say. And then at one point in time, the frequency of part of this energy changed and it slowed down, as in the waves became larger rather than faster. And by doing this, it was able to essentially expand, and then so the faster moving energy, the one at the higher frequency, could now move through the one operating at a lower frequency. So there could be contrast, there could be duality and non-duality. We got the contrast between the high frequency and the low frequency. This is how we get the idea of yin and yang, black and white, all of this sort of stuff. So the slower moving or lower frequency, you could say, is the feminine energy, and then the masculine energy was this higher speed moving energy. And this is the one also talked about in the Bible. This is essentially what Jesus is. He is the sun, aka literally the sun. It's light energy. That's what it is. And it's also, you can think of it as lighter, like it's the surface of the water. And that's why people talk about Jesus walking on water. And then the lower frequency is the one that is moving deeper down in the ocean. This is why we talk about the feminine being intuition, being literally emotion itself. And so the masculine is more like thought, right? Because one of these energies had to be the faster moving energy, so it could be the one that essentially moves through, like I said, the slower moving energy. So what happened was this universe or source or God or whatever you want to call it, it wanted to experience itself. So it slowed itself down in one aspect and kept the other moving at this higher speed, so that essentially it could exist within itself. It wanted to exist inside of itself, which is also why, the masculine goes in the feminine, right? So it is living within itself. That's what it wanted to do, so that it could experience itself. So it basically passes through itself. I hope you're sticking with me here. But this universe, it created vessels. So by slowing itself down, it was able to create solid physical reality because the light would condense and fold in on itself, and this is how we get this physical world that we see in front of us today. What we call the feminine is really also light energy, but it's just been condensed so much that we see it as so-called darkness. And the masculine energy is really just the energy that passes through the feminine. So we always say that the feminine is emotional, but really it's emotion that's moving through the feminine. So it's the masculine that's the emotion that's moving through the feminine, which is the vessel. And at any point in time, we can alternate between these two. I've said this a lot in my TikTok videos lately, where I talked about how when I'm speaking like this, I'm acting as a masculine energy that's moving through you if you are the one receiving and listening right now. A way that you can visualize this is essentially like a thread and a needle, and the thread moving through the needle, or you can also think of it like when someone does the smoke puffs and they do the bigger one and then the smaller one moves through the big one. That's the same kind of idea once again, is that you have a larger circle that's expanded and then a smaller circle that moves through the larger circle, and that's how we get this idea of living within ourselves. We live within reality, within our own being, and that's how we can go inside of ourselves. We can go within, right? And that's exactly what the universe did. It went within itself so that it could understand itself. And so essentially what thoughts are the vessels for reality. So you can think of it like all of reality was once one. It was like these waves that move all together. They're all connected like a chain. But then when you start to have words, you start to speak out loud, you break the chain off into pieces, and those pieces become their own vessel, their own fractal of this universe. So it's like the entire universe existing inside that one little fractal. So this is how we get human beings, we get objects, we get everything in this universe. And then, like I said, this energy that's already flowing continues to pass through all of these vessels now, giving it life, giving it a being. I don't even know what I was going with there. Trying to word that was weird. Words are weird. Okay, we're gonna move forward. Anyways, what I'm getting at with this is that we ourselves are vessels. We started as a thought or a word. And you hear in the Bible, the word was God and God was with the word, or something along those lines, right? That's because it happens all at the same time. The word, the emotion, everything was happening at once. It was side by side, right? And so us ourselves started as a thought that expanded and slowed down, and then as it eventually expanded enough, this higher speed moving energy or higher frequency energy was able to pass through us and thread the needle. And the moment that needle was thread, that's when we became aware of ourselves. That's when we became aware of our own existence. So when you're a child and you see darkness and you haven't come into consciousness yet, eventually that happens because you've expanded enough for it to occur. Okay? Anyway, so this is how energy moves in our reality. You can think of it also like the universe is experiencing itself through all these different perspectives. You are one unique lens of the entire universe. You're a filter, right, for everything that's moving through you. And your DNA or your structure, whatever you want to call it, the things you like, the things you don't like, all these sorts of things are like these settings on you or something. You can think of it like they make you unique. So when this energy moves through you, it's almost like it plays you like an instrument. So it hits all these different notes, and that's how you get different expressions of the same thing. So we're all expressing this energy that's moving through us, but in our own unique way. And that's what makes it special. And now what's interesting is that you can change what you are expressing by changing your thoughts, right? We know this from manifestation. What you assume to be true tends to come true. And with that being said, this is where the idea of saying affirmations came into play, because people understood that if they just said something, then eventually their reality would shift and start to form around that thing that they started to say, right? And so I want to explain how that sort of works, but also how saying affirmations is not the be-all end-all of everything. It's not necessary to repeat affirmations. It's more necessary to instead focus on energy, and I'm going to explain this further and how this relates to nuclear fusion. So when you say affirmations, like I said earlier, any thought that you speak out loud, any thought that you say is forming the structure of reality. It's breaking things off into pieces. And so when you said that first affirmation, or you had that initial desire, that was a vessel that you created. So you can think of it like a little, almost like an empty jar or something. You form this empty jar, and now that empty jar is waiting for energy to fuel it. It's waiting for this spark to ignite it, essentially. So it's empty at the time that you make it. You can almost think of it like, I like to think of it as something that's cold. Like it's ice cold at the time if you said it without much emotion behind it, or you said it with desire rather than just like true feeling that it's yours. Then it's kind of like cold. It sits there, it's like icy and it's frosty, and most of the time when things aren't manifesting, it's not because the universe didn't hear you, it's because there's not enough fuel in the jar to make it real. There's no spark inside that thing to make it real. So it's sitting there and it freezes in time, and it just sits there and it waits for you. So it's not gone, it didn't get lost, everything you've ever desired is right there. It's all just frozen in time. It's like these little frozen images that are waiting for you to remember them, that are waiting for you to give them the fuel that they need to come into existence. So this is why when we talk about doing things that bring you joy, doing things that give you energy, that literally bring your energy up naturally, what happens is when your energy rises through any sort of action, through anything that makes you feel good in any sort of way, that energy overflows then from you into all these vessels around you, and then they start to show up again in your experience. And this happens more and more. So it's not that you need to keep creating these vessels. Trust me, you've already created them. You just need to fill them. You need to fuel them now. And this is where, again, nuclear fusion comes into play, because when you ignite one little candle, one little spark, one match, then that one match can go on to start to light the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and it becomes a continuous reaction. It's like kinetic energy in motion. Once something's in motion, it stays in motion and continues to light the next thing and the next. So that's why you only really have to focus on the moment in front of you. Do, in this moment, what's going to bring you the most energy, what's going to make you feel good, what's going to, make you feel alive. And this is also why it's important to be present. The reason it's important to be present, again, I have a TikTok video on this topic. If you scroll down, it's a video I showed about a pen where I talked all about the pen and how focusing on one thing is so important. So when you're present in the moment, you're basically acting as the sun. You're like, think of the sun, how it just sits and then everything orbits around it. That's what happens when you're being present. When you're being present and you're not speaking a bunch, you're not flooding your mind with all these thoughts of worry and doubt and fear and how's it going to happen? How am I doing this right? Am I wrong? Am I blah, 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 blah? Because every time you have a bunch of thoughts, you're breaking your energy into pieces. Every time you overthink something, you break your energy into pieces. The only thing you have to know is your final outcome. It's just like law of assumption. You only need to know where you're going. You don't need to know anything else other than that. So all the other thoughts are just excess fluff that are breaking your energy into pieces. And the thing is, your energy is never fully gone. It can just get broken into pieces and stored into sort of like little boxes. So for example, if there's something in your experience that's taking up your energy, that's stressing you out, then your energy is being held in that little box every time you think about it. Every time you think about it, it's like your energy, some of it goes into that little box and it's kind of lost from you. And then also what happens is if you're affirming a bunch for something and you are not actually helping yourself in this present moment, like if you're unhappy and you keep affirming for something, you're feeling kind of like numb or bored or lost or just unhappy, that's because all your energy, you're giving it to something. You're not giving it to yourself, you're giving it to that other thing. You're supposed to give to yourself first, just like I always talk about being on a plane. If a plane's going down, you put the mask on yourself first, then you help other people. This is what you have to do with yourself. You give yourself all the energy that you need first, and then that energy will spill over to everything else. Because again, when you're present in the moment, you become like the sun. All of those little pieces that were separate, if you start to do something like, meditate, or you just sit in stillness and like stare at the ceiling, like my last video, I talked about this more. If you can do that for a while, all those little pieces, like little magnets, they all come back to you again. Like your thoughts, when you speak out loud and stuff like this, like everything comes back to you again. It doesn't stay separated from you. It naturally is attracted to you and naturally wants to come back to you, like law of attraction. Everything wants to be with you. It doesn't want to be separate from you. It's only when you keep separating things again and again with these affirmations you keep saying, like you keep separating this piece from you, and then you keep giving all your energy to this piece instead of yourself. Like, you're never going to be able to manifest that way because you're going to stay basically cold. It's like you are freezing yourself. You're putting yourself into the past, like instead of this object. Like the things that you want to bring to your reality are secondary to you in this moment. They feed off of the energy that you give them. But if you are giving them all your energy and none for yourself, like you're going to have nothing left to give to anything else. Like it just doesn't work like that, because if you're not centered, your energy is just too spread out and you can't fuel things properly. You can't fuel yourself. And if you can't fuel oh my gosh, you can't fuel yourself, you can't fuel anything else, because you yourself are the renewable source. You are this renewable energy source. So things have to come back to you and return to you so that you can think of it like they meld back into you again. So things that are no longer necessary for you, thoughts that are, just random or whatever, or like anything, they meld back into you. They fuse with you again. So this is why it's important to come back to center. This is why it's important to rest. This is why it's important to get enough sleep, because when you're doing all these things, it gives time for your body to take in all this information and only, give fuel to the things that you actually want it to give fuel to, because your body's smart. It is so smart. It knows what you want. Trust me, every single thought you ever had of something that you wanted, it already knows. It didn't forget. It's just waiting for the fuel to be able to fire it up for you. That's it, right? So you don't need more affirmations. You just need fuel. And you are the fuel. You are the fire. But you have to let things come back to you so that you can be in your full power again. When you start acting in your full power in the present moment, and you literally put your eyes on this reality, like I'm literally talking about, like physically put your eyes on this reality and stay out of your head more often, like, and just do things in this existence, like you will start to feel better. And that's not to say you can't have thoughts in your head. Thoughts in your head are actually more beneficial than just speaking out loud. A lot of the time we can give our energy away by speaking out loud a lot. Like even me talking, sharing this video, I'm giving energy away sort of, but it will come back to me once again. Like it's a renewable energy source. If you know that, it's not really a concern. But when you're talking in your head, you're sort of keeping things closer to you. It's more so like if you're present with yourself as you speak in your own head, then your energy is not going anywhere. It's more so when you get lost in your thoughts and you kind of like zone out and end up like, overthinking something that's stressing you out, that's when you start to lose energy. But if you're focused on something that's bringing you energy, bringing you joy in any sort of capacity, then, that's presence, whether it's in your mind or in this physical world. It's as long as something is giving you energy. Like if I were to make this video super short, what I would say is do things that give you energy and don't do things that don't give you energy as much as possible. I know in this world it can feel like there's things you're obligated to do, that you have to do, that you don't like. And the truth is that's kind of a lie, but that's just what we've been taught for so long that it's hard for us to see anything else. And I totally get that. But do more of the things, even if they're so small. Do things that bring you joy in any sort of way, any small way. Do anything that can, if it's not joy, do something that can bring you back into the present moment. Like go take a bath or something where you're feeling the heat of the water on your body, or take a cold shower, or go for a walk outside. Do anything to bring yourself back into the present first. That's like the first way to start to get back into things. And then do anything small that can make you feel any bit better. Like the smallest thing. I don't even care what it is. Like even if it's just like cleaning up your kitchen a little bit so that you feel better the next day when you get up and you see that your kitchen's clean or something. Like the smallest things that will make you feel good. Or like, for example, for me, like I bought something small off of Amazon. Like buy yourself something little. People are so worried about, like spending money on things or buying things. And the thing is with energy, it's a constant exchange. You know, if you're buying things that are bringing you joy and making you feel good and helping you in this existence, then that's not a waste of money. Like, if it's going to make you feel better up to like doing some task that you need to get done, then, you know, how bad is it, right? Like, we worry so much about these things, and we can save all the money we want, but if you're never actually, you know, using it on anything that brings you joy, like, what's the point? So I don't know. This is just my personal opinion on that, but nuclear fusion is essentially what we were made for. Like, as humans, we have this energy that recycles, that is reusable, and it can come and go, and it can always return. The reason that people, you know, end up in life like just depressed and down and just not good is because they give their energy away to too many things. Their mind is too much in, you could say, the future, or it's hung up in all these things that they need to get done. And it's not lost, though. Their energy isn't lost. It just hasn't returned to their source. And that's why in my last video I talked about returning home. You have to return home to yourself, which means, again, like, being with yourself. You don't have to sit in meditation necessarily. Like, just be present with what you're doing in this experience and do things that bring you joy. Like, that is it. And this energy that you start to create within yourself, it will be a spark that you ignite, and that's going to start a chain reaction, and that chain reaction is going to fuel every single one of your manifestations. They are all sitting there as unlit candles. They're just waiting for you to fuel them. That's it. They're not gone. Everything you've desired already occurred. It already happened, okay? You've already created the vessel for it. It's already there waiting for you. Like, you're just remembering who you already are. Those things you desire are you, because you're desiring pieces of yourself. You're literally desiring pieces of you, because you are all of it, but you've broken these pieces off, and so they've separated and they've gone cold because they no longer have your fire to fuel them. So all they need is your fire again. And that doesn't mean you need to go and fuel every single individual one, like by saying it again and again or anything like that. No, all your desires want you to do is to be present and have joy in this moment. Because, again, if you can bring all your fire back to right now, you're going to light up everything around you. Like, you become the sun that lights up everything. You're no longer, you know, the little stars in the sky or something. You're becoming the sun, and the sun lights up all of it. So that's why you have to allow everything to come back to you. You have to allow yourself to be present, and I promise you, things will start to unfold in ways that you could have never imagined. You do not need more affirmations. If they make you feel good, you can definitely say them. Don't stop saying them because I said so, if they make you feel good. Say affirmations if you want to. Do whatever you want to do. Literally, like, do what makes you feel good. I wish I could just yell this from the rooftops of this entire planet. Like, do things that make you feel good, that give you energy. Like, things that supply you with energy, right? And if you don't have any right now, like, the best thing you can do is just allow yourself to sit in stillness, be present, sleep more, and then take any small actions that will bring you any sort of energy, even if it's so small, because it's a ball rolling. You just have to get the ball rolling again, and once it's rolling, it'll just keep going. Because, again, it's nuclear fusion, because we are the sun. You are the sun. In your reality, you are the sun. You are essentially like Jesus walking on water. That's who you are. So you're the light. Nothing else is the light. All these things around you, it's the dark. You're the one that lights them up. So they need your light, and they need you to be you. Anyways, if this video is helpful, please like, comment, all that stuff. And in my bio, I have an ebook on channeling and receiving downloads. Is basically how I ended up getting all this information and understanding everything. So if you're interested, it's there. I might be writing another one soon, but yeah. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll see you later. Bye.